Hello fellow YouTubers, Bear Prepper here. Well, surprise, you're seeing me. I don't know if I'm going to be real consistent from here on forward, but I'm going to try. I'm finally in a place where I'm starting to get things done. I have continued to freeze dry. I have not been pressure canning or water bath canning, but I've been freeze drying since I got here. So I have a lot of good things to show you. Today, we're going to take some of those freeze dried goods and we're going to make homemade MREs. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's show you what we got here. We got my daughter's Meatloaf, and this is 20 pounds, and it probably feels like 3. I made some homemade mashed potatoes, 15 pounds of potatoes. See how small it is? And you know those great big huge bags of corn? That's what this is, and it weighs probably about 1.5 pounds. And then we're going to top it off with cookies. So we're going to do a 1/2 cup of mashed potatoes, a cup of corn, and 1 or 2 meatloaves in a Mylar bag, and then the cookies. So let's get started. Okay, when I made the meatloaf, I went ahead and used my big bread pan, and plan on whatever you're going to have for dinner that night to do that. And just do a lot more of it. So I made 2 pans of meatloaf, and then I made the mashed potatoes as if I was going to be eating them, which we did for dinner, and then I freeze dried them. And then the corn, I just actually put the corn on the pan and freeze dried that because it'll be really sweet because all the water was removed from it, so it's a lot sweeter when you rehydrate. Alright, so let's get started. One of the things to remember is don't close your Ziplocs all the way. You just want to close them enough to stop the ingredients from coming out, or just fold them over. So a cup of corn, and I'm just going to fold them over. And if you can get smaller bags, get them. I just didn't happen to have any at the time right now, so I'm using what I have. And then scoop of potatoes. Remember, these are going to rehydrate bigger because you're going to add water to them. They already have the milk and butter and salt and pepper and all that in it. And make sure your hands are clean because these are, or wear gloves, because these are for other people. And you're going to take a slice of meatloaf. I think I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to put the corn in the bottom because it's the biggest. Then the mashed potatoes. And I'm going to use 1 slice of meatloaf. Meat is a luxury, so put more of something else and then nut or butter. Now on these cookies, what you want to do is you want to open the corner just so the air comes out. You don't want the air not to vacuum. And put it in, put your O2 absorber in it, and seal it up and label it. And that's all there is to it. So I'll take 1 each of these and I'm going to make me a meal and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so somebody's come and, or you've given it to your guys because they're going to be out in the field and you want them to have something decent. So they're going to boil some water. That way you won't have smells permeating everywhere. And we're going to take the cookies out. Meatloaf is on top. The mashed potatoes out. And the corn out. The meatloaf is probably going to take the longest to rehydrate. So you're going to take and put about 1/8 of a cup to a 1/4 cup, probably a 1/4 cup of water in here. And you're going to close it up and just let it sit while you prepare everything else. Corn is the next thing you're going to do. And you're not going to drop your measuring cup in the hot water because then it gets hot. The corn, you can put a 1/2 cup of water in here, or a little more. Yeah, definitely gonna need a little more. Maybe not. Yeah. And you're just going to mush it around until you can see some moisture in the bag that's not being absorbed. And then you can just close it up and let it sit for a minute. Mashed potatoes, it's between 1/4 and 1/2 cup, so I'm going to do 1/4 cup. And see what we get. That'll be 1/2 cup. So far we've used 1.5 cups of boiling water. We're gonna need another 1/4 cup. Let them sit for a minute or two. Now you can eat directly out of the bag. The only one you need to lay out is the meatloaf and the corn. You're going to let it sit for about a minute and then flip it over. Make sure it gets the other side. Mashed potatoes you can just roll up, they're done. And you can eat out of the bag or you can put them on a plate. So I'm going to put them on a plate. And there you go. A meal fit for a king. This is on a regular size plate. Let's give the corn a try. Meat is a luxury, so you can do man-sized meals that you put a couple slices of meatloaf on. I used 2 cups of water to rehydrate this whole meal. The meatloaf took 3 minutes. Everything else was pretty instantaneous. Let's try the corn. This is straight out of the freezer bag. Very sweet. There's salt and pepper and butter on this when I made the potatoes. Tastes like fresh. A little saltier, so I think next time I'd use a little less salt. And the meatloaf, which is my daughter's recipe, sliced thin enough so it rehydrates well. A little crunchy still. Could have sat in the bag for another minute. Didn't need more water. Got about 1/8 of a cup of water still in the bag, so it just needs to sit a little longer. And there you go. MREs that taste better than anything you could buy. Blessings.